Good evening. Welcome to this meeting of Royston Town Council, being held in the Heritage Hall at the Town Hall in Royston. I'd like to ask Mr. Peter Chapman, pastor of the Trinity Light Church, to lead us in prayer.
Thank you very much. It's a great privilege to be with you this evening. I just would like to read just 3 verses from a scripture that I just feel I've just been feeling is appropriate for tonight before I pray. It's from John chapter 13. I'll just read verses 3 to 5. This is Jesus at the Last Supper with his disciples before the evening before his crucifixion. Jesus, knowing that his Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God, was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. The thought came to me before I pray, if I could just share that your role in essence is servanthood, isn't it? You're serving the community of Royston. You're serving this town that we love so much. And so I just wanted to thank you for that and just to really point us to the scripture. That's what Jesus came to do, came to serve and not just save. He served his disciples. He served us with his message and what he did. And so it is that you serve us as a community. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this evening, for the gift of life and health that has made it possible for each of us to be in attendance at this meeting this evening. Father, we want to thank you as we begin this meeting for the community of Royston that you have placed us in, for the joy that we experience in living here in this town and community. Father God, we thank you for the wealth of skill within our community that makes community life work, and for the financial well-being of our community. Thank you for the funding, charities and trusts that play a substantial part in this. Father, we also give you thanks for each individual that seeks to and does make a difference in the lives of others on a selfless and regular basis in this town. And now, Father, I humbly ask that you grant an enjoyable and successful council meeting this evening to those that have gathered to make it happen. Father, as the servants of our community meet, discuss and make wise decisions on the welfare of our community, Father, my prayer is very simple this evening. May they enjoy consensus and experience unity as they work through the agenda before them for the benefit of our beloved town of Royston. Father, we pray this in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would remind members to be mindful of the climate and biodiversity emergency declared by Royston Town Council in making decisions on behalf of the council. Time is set aside for members of the public to address the council on items on the agenda or any matters regarding diversity issues. A maximum of 15 minutes is allocated to public participation, and any individual member of the public should have 3 minutes to deliver a statement. Members of the public should contact the town clerk in advance of the meeting if they wish to speak. I'm aware of one person who would like to address the council this evening. It's a representative from the Royston Indian Society who would like to address us on an application for a grant, which has been heard later.
Chair, they can have, you're okay at the moment because it's just public participation, but when it becomes the agenda item, you would have 10 minutes.
Okay, so Honorable Mayor and respected councillor, thank you so much for, first of all, I would like to say thank you so much for giving us an opportunity and considering our applications and talk about the Diwali event. So Royston Indian Society is planning to organize the Diwali event. So what I'll do, I think first start with my introduction and talk about Diwali and what are the objectives we have set up and how what will be the outcome for those objectives and how it will align with the Western Town Council. So myself, I'm Vikas Nandekar. I live in Western from 2015. It's been almost like 8 years. I live with my wife here at 25 Cherry Drive, and we have a lovely daughter. She's 3.5 years old. So yeah, let's talk about the Diwali. So Diwali is just like the Christmas. It's a very big festival in India. We celebrate for 5 days. And the main message for Diwali is we Indian believes in a Lord Krishna and Lord which is the Supreme God. And we pass the message like victory over the devil. This is the main, I mean, the message. And this Diwali events we are planning to set up because of the cultural awareness. We promoting the cultural awareness and understanding, building a sense of belongings, identity, celebrating the diversity and engaging in social and charitable initiatives, advocacy representation, and promoting the cross cultural exchange. So the last one is my favorite, but I'm going to talk about more about the promoting the cross cultural exchange, why I like that. And the outcome I would like to talk about, like we have it for total 3 outcomes, which I think actually the meet with the Royston Town Council's objectives, enhance the profile and the reputation of the Royston. I think at first I said like I moved in 2015 and I think I hardly knew the 3 or 4 families here in the Royston. But now there are 100 families lives from in Royston from the Indian community. This is how, and from the last year we had an event, and thank you so much again for granting us for the Garba events, and it was really successful. And after that, I think many people know about our town, culture, importance of the Royston town, and why they are moving to from other town to Royston even. It's very beautiful town surrounded by the hills. People even I organized personally on the August month the ritual and prayers, and everyone was asking about the towns, and they really liked about our town. So this is 100% building the reputation of the Royston and assist the local organizations to develop and achieve their aims and objectives that benefit the whole and part of the community of the Royston. So I'm going to talk about more about that because we promote the culture, exchange, understanding, building the partnerships, supporting the social integration, enhancing the community engagement, and promoting the Royston's identity. This supports the community and the volunteer group in the town to provide the community activities. So we have the few volunteers from the Royston Indian Society. They also help for the Mayfairs, creating the Roystons and other community activities. We also participate in the food banks to raise some funds as well. And from the next page, I think we have the Excel spreadsheet. I think it's given for all the expenses. So we are expecting at the moment 120 guests will join that event, the Diwali event. And the tickets for that attendees, I think it's 15 pounds. So it's multiplied by the 15 multiplied by 120 is the 286. We have 60. We have the total budget. And the contribution from the other sources, like calculating everything, tickets and everything, we have the balance for 500 pounds as well. So calculating everything, what we have now at the moment, the 2,359, and total request from town council is the 500 pounds. So everything it's detailed in applications. So we have the venue hires, we have the DJ hires with equipment, the foods, decorations, fireworks, cutlery, tablecloths, and Diwali gifts for the children below age of 12 years. And we are not charging for that for the kids. And the invitations for everyone is not for only the Asian community, for the Indian society, because we are going to start to now create any posters, and definitely we are going to advertise on the social media, Facebook and the Instagram as well. And the last, I just wanted to talk about why we are aligned with what will be the outcomes and why we are aligned with these objectives. So we have tick mark for the tools. I think there are total 5 criteria listed in that, but we tick mark for the main 2, the supporting and promoting diversity, equality, and inclusion in restaurants, and encouraging, supporting, and promoting volunteer organization and the charities. So as I mentioned that we inviting the members from the various communities and culture to participate. The events highlights the richness of the culture diversity within the town, and also celebrate the diversity, promote the inclusivity, and to create culture awareness, understanding, and promote equality participation. The second is encouraging, supporting, and the promoting volunteer organization and the charity. So our volunteers plays a vital role in the organization and managing the events, contribution their time, skills to its success, and collaboration with the local charity as well. I think that's all I just wanted to say for the aligned with these aims, but I just wanted to give the why I said like the last objective is very important, because I just wanted to give my personal example, because I've been working in the pharmaceutical industry with the different pharmaceutical industry. The first pharmaceuticals based in Switzerland, another pharmaceutical Pfizer, everyone knows, based in US, and then now I'm working for GSK based in United Kingdom. How we work together, because we know other people's like what they celebrate the festivals, their culture, and how we support each other. That's why we release the medicine. And definitely Pfizer has released the COVID-19 vaccines by helping each other. And this is exactly the Lord Rama says, the whole world is one family, and let's work together to achieve our mission. This is exactly I wanted to deliver this message. And I think Mr. Peter said the same when he started. All the councillor and the community is working for the human beings.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Brown?
So before we go any further, can I ask, can we suspend the standing order when we have to stand? Are we allowed to do that? Can we do that at this point, or do you want to do it a bit later?
Could do it now. Is there a seconder?
Not yet. A seconder to suspend the standing orders that we have to stand and speak.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favour?
I will hereby sit down. Thank you very much. It sounds like a really interesting event, and very much in support of it, and the cultural activities you're putting on. I just had a question about the quotes. I noticed there were 2 quotes for the DJ and speakers of the sound, but they're both from the same organisation. Could you explain why that is?
Yeah, so DJ, I think it's something for, like, first we are going to talk about the Diwali events, and later on I think it's for the dance or the cultural activities. They are going to play the Bollywood and the Hollywood songs as well.
So you're saying you need both of them?
Yeah. So we need
I'm
the
still not
speaker
quite clear.
and the DJ as well.
Okay, there are 2 different quotes from the same company. One, I just was a bit confused by that.
Okay. So DJ hire with the equipment. So DJ is coming, I think it will be charged around like 400 or something, and the equipment with the speakers, there is a charge also for the equipment as well.
I understand that, but there are 2 identical quotes. The only difference is the travel from the same companies, the same company, for the same, basically the same thing.
Yeah,
I didn't quite understand that.
Yeah, it will be from the same company.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Madam Clerk, any apologies for absence?
Yes, Chairman, councillors Beardwell, Birch, Compton, Langdon, and Squaresmith.
Thank you. Moving on, declarations of interest and dispensations. Members are reminded that they are required to notify the chair of any declarations of interest in respect of any business set out in the agenda at the commencement of the relevant item of the agenda. Members declaring a disclosable pecuniary interest must withdraw from the meeting for the duration of the item. Members declaring other declarable interests, which requires they leave the room under the Code of Conduct, can speak on the item if members of the public are allowed to speak, but must leave the room before the debate. Are there any? Okay, we now go to town mayor's announcements. Right, this is where I basically report on what I've been doing since the last full council meeting. Now, I'm going to start with one of the most recent events I went to. That was last week. I went to the Royston First Business Awards. There were nominations for various awards. It's too many to go through, but things like it was emerging business, the Apprentice of the Year, all that sort of thing. And anyway, there's one of them which was an award for community engagement. Rob Mills, our market manager, was nominated for that, and I'm pleased to say that he won that award. Unfortunately, he was not present to accept the award, but I accepted it on his behalf. I brought it with me, so I can now present it to Rob. We'll pause for a photo.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yes, that's. I think you got that because of all the work you put into the market, which has become a community hub. Right. And you always want to make sure that the market works, to the best of your ability.
Thank you, John.
That's obviously recognised by your peers because you were nominated by one of your peers.
Oh no.
No, I think that would have been accepted.
No, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for inviting me.
Sorry. The box. And
Lovely.
thank you.
Am I allowed to go, or would you like me to listen?
No.
I'll wait for you again. Wait for your speech. I've got an hour.
Okay, that was last week. Right, let's go back in time then and do the chronological order. The 22nd of June, I went along to a summer barbecue at the Margaret House Care Home in Barley. And it really was summer on that day. It was very hot, very hot. But in the evening, I then went along to Bo Book's first birthday event as held at the old schoolhouse. And part of that event was a talk by author James Riley, who was launching his new book. 28th of June, I went along to the Buntingford Mayor's Civic Reception in Buntingford, of course. It was a nice event. I was able to meet other mayors from other little towns around Hertfordshire. The following day, the 29th of June, I had the honour of being a judge at Home Starts Got Talent. It was quite an amazing evening, actually, with all these with the amateur talent there. And the winner was a 12-year-old girl called Sammy, who did an aerial act to music. She was incredible. And for those of you old enough, she will be appearing at the Silver Sunday event. Okay. I don't know how many of you are actually old enough to go there. But, and yeah, I'll talk more about that a little bit later. Anyway, 4th of July, Independence Day in the States, but in Royston it was Independence Day. That's when Royston First, the manager of Royston First, goes around the town just supporting all the local businesses. And I joined on that day. 6th of July, I was invited to the Indian Food Festival, which was quite amazing actually. It was all homegrown food. It was, a selection. Lots of members of the Indian Society had cooked their own dishes at home, and I was able to go around and select them all. It was lovely. 11th of July, the Chamber of Commerce held a barbecue at the Old Bull, and I went along to that. 14th of July, I was invited to a celebration. That was a celebration of a new helicopter. It was the Essex and Herts Air Ambulance. They held this do at Hatfield House, called it a celebration. 20th of July, that was the Herts County Council summer event at County Hall. 9th of August, I was invited to a memorial event in the Priory Gardens. It was organised by the Royston District Community Transport in honour of Dr. John Hedges, a former GP and one of the founders of the RDCT. That's quite a moving time, that was. And there is now a bench in Priory Gardens honouring him. 11th of August, I went along to the allotments open day. 14th of August, the twinning AGM. 22nd of August, I went along to the premises of Metla Toledo to have a look round, and I was showing how their X-ray machines are built and operated, and it was very interesting. You know, there are some wonderful businesses around that industrial estate which are hidden. I mean, I had never heard of Metla Toledo until that time, but you know, that they're a worldwide company, you know, and that what they build here in Royston goes around the world. 27th of August, I was invited to a training session for community first responders. Now, community first responders, they are the ones who are unpaid. Okay. There's a whole group in Royston, and you know, if there's no ambulance immediately available, they will send along these community first responders. Every month they have a training session up at the fire station. I went along there and I learned a lot about sepsis, how to recognise it, and how responders deal with it. 31st of August, I went to Melbourne Springs Care Home, their summer event. You know, in the past I've wondered why Melbourne Springs, but there's so many Royston people there in Royston Springs, you know, and they're really grateful to see a representative from Royston at that place. It's a wonderful place. It's more like a 5-star hotel, I think. I wouldn't mind ending up there, if necessary. 9th of September was Emergency Services Day, where we also celebrate the emergency services and what they do for us. And they risk their lives every day. Every time they're called out, they risk their lives. And this particular day of honour was at County Hall in Hertford, where the flag was raised, the emergency services flag, and there was prayers, 2-minute silence for those who have passed in their line of duty, and speeches from the heads of the various emergency services. 17th of September, I went along to the Garden House Hospice. Well, I didn't actually go to the hospice itself. It was held in a venue in Letchworth, where they were setting out on their 10-year plan. And they just wanted to present their ideas to stakeholders and hear any views that we had. It was a busy day because in the evening was my charity dinner at the Tyrac in Royston. I'm pleased to say that we raised for our charities £261 that evening. Thank you to all of those of you who were able to come and support that. 18th of September, I went along to the Royston Health Walks Open Day. Now, I had never heard of Royston Health Walks. They're a group of individuals who get together every week to go for a walk around the heath. All ages are catered for. There are some sort of hard walking, which is in the afternoon. But morning is a little bit more leisurely walks for the likes of me and a lot of my colleagues. Just sort of around the heath and into the woods and back again. We also had a demonstration on that open day from the Essex and Herts Air Ambulance of how to give CPR. Unfortunately, I had to leave before that demonstration, but you'll find out later that I'll pay the price later. Where are we? It was the Royston First Business Awards were dealt with, and the last thing I did was the Royston Leisure Centre Open Day. I was there for most of the time, from 10 in the morning to nearly 4 in the afternoon. It was a wonderful time to see the leisure centre and have a guided tour, and just explained to me their plans. They're going to build an extension, so they have a bigger dance studio. Where the dance studio is at the moment, they're going to extend the gym into that, so it's a larger gym. There was a visit from an athlete. His name is Harry. I'm not going to attempt to do his surname because I don't want him forgetting it. But a lot of people know him as Nitro from Gladiators as well. And they also had a demonstration on CPR given by the senior lifeguard or some such individual. And I had no choice but to participate. Yes. I mean, I have had CPR training a long time, many, many years ago in a former life, but it's changed so much since then. The only downside was that I had to do this on a dummy. So you're going to be mouth to mouth on a dummy isn't so interesting. Well, I had a lovely day anyway. And that is it, really. We're back my last few months. Story, isn't it? Yeah, so we're now move. We're going to change the order now. We're going to go straight to number 11, the grant application from the Royal St William's Society. Right, would anybody like to speak on this?
I think it's really worthy of support, but I have a few questions, as you've probably realised from my earlier question. I don't understand about the quotes. Now, our grants policy currently says that you have to provide 2 quotes, and there are 2 quotes for the speakers, but they're from the same organisation, they're for different amounts, and then there's only 1 quote for the catering. So what I wanted to ask is, how does that make it policy compliant? So the 2 quotes from Dream Events for speakers and DJ, I haven't got any problem with that. They need a speaker and a DJ and a sound system. But there are 2 quotes from the same organisation. That's not what is meant by 2 quotes. You're supposed to have 2 quotes from different organisations. And they just have different amounts of the travel at the bottom, which seems a bit odd. So one's for 600, one's for 800. And then the catering was only 1 quote. So my question is, we have this grants policy that says you should have 2 quotes if you're applying for more than £250. And there aren't 2 quotes. I just wanted an explanation about that.
I can see where you're coming from, because same company and the quotes seem to be the same thing but different amounts.
Are they meaning like the 2 quotes, one for the catering and one for, they need two
No,
separate quotes for
There should be 2 quotes for each
item?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I wanted to check the timings, because maybe there are 2 invoices raised from the one organization. Maybe the negotiation happened with the speakers, because when I see the differential, it's 350 for speakers and then the 250 for the speakers that I need to communicate with the other members, committee members.
I don't have any issue with the amounts. It's the procedure that I'm asking about. We have a grants policy, and one of the reasons I'm making this point is because when we agreed this grants policy, I actually said we shouldn't require 2 quotes, because for £500, it's ridiculous that a small organisation has to provide 2 quotes. But we've now got a policy that isn't, an application that isn't actually policy compliant, because it does not have 2 quotes from different organisations for the speakers, and it doesn't have 2 quotes for the catering. Personally, I'd be prepared to waive that and grant this award, because I think it's very worthy. But I just want to make the point that this policy is ridiculous and we should change the policy.
I would agree on that just one I've lost my words. It is enough, yeah, if we can get 1, because it just makes it confusing, doesn't it?
Sure.
So if it's 1 and it's official to, like, and it's obviously, yeah.
You would expect to get 2 quotes for a large amount of money, but for £500.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I'm making an issue out of this, is because I know of an organisation that only applied for £250 because they couldn't get 2 quotes. They would have applied for the full 500 if they had realised that there was discretion. And it's setting obstacles and barriers in the way of small voluntary organisations with people who are working entirely voluntary for these community organisations. So I think I would like to make a proposal that at a future meeting we review the voluntary policy.
Another item. Anybody else wish to speak on this?
I was just going to say, I remember, because I'm looking at the grants policy now, and it's for grants exceeding 250
Yes.
for the purchase of goods. I'm pretty sure if it was a capital bit of equipment, but these are sort of services, catering and DJ services. And it was agreed at the meeting, it was Councillor Compton actually, that because there was lots of conversation that went on about it at that meeting. And I'm pretty sure, and that's why it's sort of worded that way, it's only for the purchase of goods. So if you were buying a piano, you would have to have two alternative quotes because it was a capital item. But I think because these are services, you don't need the two quotes. And I remember that conversation. It was backwards and forwards and it was changed quite a bit. And it was decided that if it was a capital purchase, that it would be two quotes. But if it was a service or anything else, which I think they are, like catering is, it's not actually a capital purchase. And that's the policy basically.
Well, can I just say, I think that's extremely confusing for members of the public.
Now, we've got you're proposing.
I'm happy to propose
Okay.
that we
Is there a
grant it.
second?
I'm happy to say,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All those in favour?
Thank
Carried.
Mr. Mayor, could I just mention that a little while ago we went into committee. We haven't come out of it yet, so at the moment this council is still in committee.
It's completely up to you if you want to remain as committee for the rest of the committee, you can do, or you can reinstate it. It's up to you.
It will remain.
I'm just going to the other side.
Okay, moving on. We now need to approve as a correct record the minutes of the meeting of the council held on 17th of June 2024. Minutes 58:25 to 77:25. I would like to move that these are approved. A seconder?
Yeah,
Thank you,
that'd be
Councillor Inwood. All those in favour? They are approved. Minutes of committees. Received minutes of committee meetings which have already been adopted as a correct record into the workings of the council. These minutes are received for information purposes only, as the relevant committees are those which approve minutes of accuracy. I would like to move that we adopt these. First being the minute of the Finance Committee held on 24th of June, 78:25 to 85:25. For a seconder, Councillor Law. Also for the meeting of the Finance Committee, all those in favour? The meeting of the Finance Committee held on 29th of July, minutes 108:25 to 117:25. For a seconder.
Different gender, so
This
this
is
is going to be
planning.
The meetings of the Planning Committee held on 1st of July 24, minutes 86/25 to 92:25. For a seconder. Councillor Adams. All those in favour? Meeting of the Planning Committee held on 5th of August 2024, minutes 118/25 to 124:25. For a seconder. Councillor Freeman. All those in favour? Thank you. And to receive minutes of committee meetings which have not already been adopted as a correct record into the workings of the council. These minutes are received for information purposes only, as the relevant committees are those which approve the minutes for accuracy. First, the meeting of the General Purposes and Highways Committee on 15th of July 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure to present the minutes of the General Purpose and Highways Committee. Minute 9325, public participation. 94, apologies for absence. 95, declaration of interest and dispensations. 96, approval of General Purposes Highways Committee minutes. 97, minutes of subcommittees and working party meetings. 98, reports from county councillors and chair of the North Herts Royston Area Forum. 99, Armed Forces Covenant, and I'm pleased to report that we have now signed that covenant, and the council are now members of the Armed Forces Covenant. 100, Royston Green Award. 101, removal of abandoned bicycles from Marketplace Bike Rack. 102, chalk streams. 103, the York Way Royston Restriction of Waiting Order 2024. 104, concessionary bus passes on A to B bus services between Royston and Cambridge. 105, bus routes in Royston. 106, update from chairman. And 107, councillors' reports on town council activities and representatives from outside organisations. Mr. Mayor, I would ask that these minutes be accepted into workings of the council.
Yeah, can I just make a point as well, on 105 around the buses, I'm delighted to report that Herts Links Bus, which is run by Herts CC County Council, have added 2 more bus stops down where I live on, so that's really good news, because it was something we discussed in that meeting,
Yeah.
an update.
Your second?
I'm happy to second, yeah.
All those in favour? Meeting of the Finance Committee held on 29th of July. Minutes 108.25 to 117.25. For a seconder? All those in favour? Okay. Meeting of the Planning Committee held on 2nd of September 2024. Seconder?
No, it didn't take place.
Yeah.
We were in core. We were, but we still produced the minutes. Which says that we were in core.
All those in favour? Thank you. The minutes of subcommittees and working party meetings. Members to receive the minutes of the Communication Working Party meeting held on 4th of June 2024. The seconder?
Yeah, I'm happy to second. Well, I'm not, because I'm not on that working party, but I'm reading those notes. It says that there's going to be an action plan prepared following the survey, which I welcome, but I would say that I'm surprised it's taken this long. The survey closed in January, we're now in September, and we haven't even written the action plan yet, which is really disappointing.
I can say there was a draft action plan. It was to be discussed at the meeting of the Communications Working Party. Unfortunately, that had to be postponed because it would have been for it.
Okay.
So there will be another meeting convened very shortly.
Okay. Well, I'll let someone from the path from the working party go for a second.
Anybody? Well, seconder. Thank you, Councillor Adams. Right. All those in favour? I'd like to now to invite Emma Canterbury, the manager of the museum.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here this evening giving this report in person rather than the written reports that I've had to give up until now. So our total number of visitors at the museum to date for 2024 to 2025 is almost 3,400. 69% of those visitors are adults and 31% are under 18. This is slightly higher than compared to the total number of visitors at the end of September last year, which was 3,393 visitors. So we're on track to exceed last year's visit numbers, which is really good news. We've had a busy programme of events since my last report. So we had our summer fair on Saturday the 6th of July, where we had traditional games, nature-inspired crafts, and an interactive family bubble show, which I brought from my previous museum, as it's great fun. We were also joined by the printing group, who helped visitors print their own Royston Museum tote bag on the press. Time Explorers was our summer holiday activities running from the 25th of July to the 1st of September. These were on our normal opening hours of Thursday to Sunday. So every week focused on a different period of history, including Roman, Stone Age, Tudors and the 20th century, with different themed activities. Each week generally had 3 craft activities, object handling, a dress-up photograph cutout where children could put the pieces of costume on the cutout and then put their head through to take a picture of it, and a tough tray activity. So a tough tray is like a black plastic tray on the floor, great for under 5. So we're trying to extend the ages that we're able to offer for, and those are really popular. As part of our summer holiday activities, and in that effort to broaden our programming off for different ages, we ran workshops for children aged 8+. Those included photography, where we partnered with the Photographic Society, clay, mosaics and collage. Then at the beginning of this month, we had the Heritage Open Days. We had 3 object handling crafts at the weekend, and as Sophie, our curator, gave a free lunchtime talk about the town's history on the Thursday as well, and received glowing feedback for that. We are partway through our participation in the Royston Arts Festival, where our events include family craft activities, workshops for children and adults, and sessions for under 5s. Our sessions for under 5s proved so popular that we had to launch extra time slots in order to accommodate more people. So I've got 3 under 5 sessions happening this week, and almost all of them are sold out. So the plan is to run those monthly next year for the community. And then we have 3 exhibitions running at the moment. So Dashing Designs was created by 3 work experience students using Richard Croft's costume designs that we have in the collection. We have an exhibition of work from the Royston Photographic Society on display, and then we have our new temporary exhibition, which explores 400 years of golf, because it's 400 years since the first recorded game of golf played outside of Scotland by an Englishman. You've got to get the wording right, but George Villiers on the keep. So Dashing Designs will run for 1 year until we have work experience again next year, and then 400 Years of Golf and Photographic Society will run until the beginning of November. Upcoming events include a talk on King James the First and Sixth from Dr. Alexander Courtney. That's on Thursday, the 10th of October. That's already sold out, and there's got a waiting list for tickets. Our half-term activities are Witches of Royston, which will run from Saturday the 26th of October to Sunday the 3rd of November. And then we're also hosting the Friends of the Heath for an archaeological talk on Wednesday the 9th of October, which is open to both members and non-members as well. Now, the team have completed their carbon literacy training as part of the Cutting Carbon programme that we're participating in through Museum Development South East. So that means all 3 of us are now certified carbon literate. I am in the process of undertaking training to support us in writing an environmental plan, and I'm working on research on how to best invest a small grant that we're receiving through the programme. At the moment, it looks like we are going to be exploring air source heat pumps in more detail, which will enable us to reduce our Scope 1 emissions down to nothing. But that is still research and quotes at the moment. We've made lots of positive changes at the museum, including looking at more sustainable procurement for collections care, exhibitions, operations and retail. And we've also been developing our family-friendly offer by creating hands-on activities with pre-loved items. Now, over the winter, we're going to be focusing on caring for our collection. We've received funding from Museum Development South East to work with a consultant who's going to provide staff and volunteers specialist training on working with the museum's costume collection. And then that training will be able to go over the rest of the collection as well, but we're starting on the costume collection. We're also waiting on the outcomes of two other funding applications that we've committed to North Hart District Council Prosperity Fund and the Brian Leslie Rachel Trust. These applications will enable us to purchase custom-made museum-grade shelving for the collection and art stores. This will increase our storage capacity by 30% and will also enable us to better care for the collection as well. And it will also enable us to recruit a collections assistant who will join us on a one-year project to improve the catalogue with the aim of making it more accessible to our community. At the moment, our catalogue is on one computer, so only one person can access it at a time, and we want it to be able to be shared with people for research and interest and such like. Now, if we're successful in these funding applications, then we will close over the winter for the works to take place. In order to put new shelving in the collection store, we need to empty the collection store, so that will go into the main body of the museum. And then finally, I'm pleased to announce that Patrick Newton has joined the Board of Trustees as Treasurer. There's going to be a period of handover with Brian before Brian steps down, and our thanks goes to Brian for his work as Treasurer, and I'm sure his ongoing support of the museum. Thank you.
Any questions?
Firstly, I just want to commend you on the fantastic outreach activities you are doing to a wide range of people in the community and extending the age range. That's fantastic. And the community partnerships you're building up. It's the museum's gone from strength to strength, and I think it'd be great to report our thanks to Emma and your predecessor as well for all the work that's been done. Just wanted to ask one question. I love the environmental work as well. And I just wondered if you'd heard of Green Heat Co-op, Fiona Hughes. She's based in Royston, yes, so you'd be good to link in with her on that project, and she can give you lots of information on heat pumps. Yes, brilliant. So yeah, but well done.
Thanks.
Excellent work.
I just want to say I belong to local WI, and we had a very good talk from Sophie about Victorian Royston. It was very, very interesting, and we thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? No? Thank you very much, Emma. Thank you very much. Now move on to the training and development policy for staff and councillors. Review and adopt the policy which has been circulated. Yes, that's all right.
Okay, I've got can I raise 2 points on the policy? First of all, I'd like to thank the staff and the organisation that went into writing the policy. There's quite a bit in there. If you look at the policy, I was referring in particular to section 2, identifying training needs for employees. There's mention there about identifying the training that's required. There's one thing that I think is missing, and that is I was going to suggest putting in a section at the end, staff training to be booked by either the town clerk or the deputy town clerk. Can you see that on the policy? It's page 1 of the training and development policy for staff and councillors. Section 2, identifying training needs.
So what you're suggesting is that the clause goes in,
adding an extra line to say that staff training to be booked by either the town clerk or the deputy town clerk.
We can put it in, but that's what has to be done anyway, because it's only
Yeah.
me that can contract, so nobody else will be able to do it anyway.
What about
There
the
are
deputy
financial-
town?
In my absence,
Yeah.
it would fall to Kerry to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so nobody else will be able to book training anyway. It's like members can't book their own training. It has to be us because we're obviously using budget money and we're the only people authorised to spend that. So you can add it. It does happen that way anyway, but if you'd like to add it, it's not an issue.
Can you bring that forward as a motion?
Yes.
Is there a seconder?
Happy to second and just say that if we're going to add it in there, we may as well add it into the members bit as well.
Yeah.
Wherever it says clerk, it should say clerk and deputy clerk.
Yeah, that's.
We have a silver qualified deputy clerk. don't we?
Yeah, that's under the members section, the second one down. And it starts off, training requirements. And it says there, the clerk will make the training bookings. I was going to suggest changing that from clerk to clerk or deputy town clerk.
Necessary to do it. We do it anyway.
It's done. It's not really, but it's up to you guys what you want to do, because that's the procedure we have to follow
We do it
in
anyway.
our other regulations.
Councillor Lockett, that what you're proposing now is that it applies to both employees and members, and you want to include the deputy town clerk as well as deputy town clerk.
Yes.
Is there a seconder for that? All those in favour? All those,
We do it anyway, don't we?
all those against?
Thanks,
That's carried.
we do it anyway. Put a little bit more words into it. Why not? Use a bit more ink.
That was the, okay, so I need you to vote on accepting the policy as amended.
Oh, okay. I've got a question, but we can accept the policy. Shall I ask the question
Yeah,
first?
ask the question first.
So my question is, the bit about the local area, the town council is committed to offering support to its local area parish town council, parish and town councils, so the ones around here. The town council is committed to networking with other councils as it sees this as an effective means of information gathering and where possible to link in with training events held by other councils. I know we have done some with North Herts. I welcome this section. I just wanted to ask what do we do already? Because the only thing that I'm aware of currently is some links with North Herts. Are there links with the other parishes? Are we involved in networking with other councils? Because I don't know. I haven't heard of that.
So basically, once a month I attend a meeting where all the other clerks of all the parish and town councils go. They're on Zoom nowadays, luckily, because they're always down in Wheat Hampstead, which is a long way for me to travel.
Yeah.
So within those, we have guest speakers. We have question and answer sessions. We have sessions that sort of are themed around certain things that a lot of clerks are struggling with at a certain time. So quite a common one once a year is Christmas lights, because they're always an absolute nightmare. So everybody will bring their ideas, and we will sort of have brainstorming sessions and do those. So that is the main interaction. But we have a clerks network where if there's any issues, we will email each other. We have clerks groups, Facebook groups, all other groups. So it's mainly through that. So it's clerks and clerk support with other town and parish councils.
Okay. Thank you.
And
That's
is there a seconder?
Gary wants to.
Yes.
Just to make a point as well, there was, and I know that Royston did participate, there was the meeting that council held earlier in the year, and it was for towns and parishes to become involved, but there was also an event due to be held this week. Unfortunately, did you know about that? Good. Unfortunately, it's not happening, but because there's lack of participation, no, as long as you knew, that's good, thank you. So there is that link as well, Councillor Brown, with other parishes via county and district get involved there as well.
Yeah, it's helpful. It's just, I read that and was unaware of anything that goes on and unaware of any support that we do offer to local parish and town councils. I wasn't aware of it.
Can I have a seconder for this proposal? Policy. those in favour? Next one is the banners policy, which has been circulated. Anybody wish to comment on this? Councillor Lockett?
Yes, sorry, it's me. Again, I'd like to thank the town clerk and the officers for all the work involved in this. But also, under section 1, banners only be put up the town council on permission of the town clerk. Again, can I add the deputy town clerk to that as well?
Anybody comment on that? Comment?
I mean, if I wasn't here, it would just be Kerry that would do it anyway, so.
Town clerk automatically.
Covers for me.
In section 8, banners accepted for display, I'd like to include, these are temporary banners, don't forget. I'd like to include any banners for the Royston Picture Palace.
But it does sound here, this list is not, it's a good look.
Oh, yeah.
And those, there are only examples.
Yeah.
So that the Palace Picture House would not be excluded. That's where I see it. If you really want to make a list, it's going to get a very long list. That is why they give them as examples.
So on that point, it says banners will be displayed from 4 days before the event only and removed the next working day. No repeat banner within 3 months. So that would be a problem for Royston Picture Palace. I think they would probably need planning permission, wouldn't they, for a permanent banner?
But we've been there before, and that's why we introduced this policy, because we were picked up, when it wasn't us at the time, it was Royston first when they were running the Picture Palace, and they were accused of permanency, and they were told they needed planning permission, and that's why we introduced this policy.
I remember.
We had to stick to it.
I do remember.
Yeah. So that if that does happen, something different might need to happen. I think that's why we put the little bits outside, because they weren't banners, but we could get away with the posters without having a banner. But yeah, that was really the inception of this policy when we had issues with planning permission.
Leave that one. The final one then is under section 11. I'd like that reads currently the town clerk's decision is final. I'd like to change that to, if there's a dispute, the decision by the town clerk or the deputy town clerk now to be agreed with the town council. So it's the town council, the elected body, that's finally responsible.
It's not really workable. So if somebody comes in and says, we want to put a banner up next week and we have a council meeting, that would be very unworkable.
That's very true.
Yeah, I realise that.
The full council, is it 4 times a year?
Yeah, I realise that could be a problem. That could be and be devolved to, to say the leader of the council or the mayor.
Individual councillors can't make decisions.
Councillor Harrison.
Thank you. I was going to say that I don't see as that would work, because we only have a meeting every other month.
Yeah.
And by the time a dispute was brought to us, the event would be over and the banner down anyway.
Yeah, Councillor Brown.
On a slightly side issue to this, I understand what you're saying about it being unworkable, but I have had in the past an organisation approach me and question the decision as to why they couldn't put a poster up in this instance on one of our notice boards. And I would like to, and we then ended up getting a policy so that it's clear who can put up posters and who can't. However, I noticed on the Twigton's estate this morning on our Royston notice board is the fun fair has a massive poster right in the middle. So how does that meet our policy? It doesn't, as far as I'm concerned, and presumably they didn't ask permission.
Right, I've got the influence flight posting, so.
Yes, okay, so it's without, they've done it without
Eventually
permission.
we would manage to get out of
Okay,
it.
so
It's
in
the
the-
other end of town. So
Yes,
we
I
don't
do
check it
appreciate that.
directly.
I do appreciate that, but you know, they obviously haven't asked permission and they're doing it anyway, which is really irritating. But anyway, but my point being that a resident came to me and said, what can I do if I'm refused and it seems unreasonable? What recourse do elected members have? That's a bit of a problem. And I kind of, I understand the practical difficulties, but I kind of hear what Stephen's trying to say, that if a resident is refused or an organisational leader is refused and then comes to us as elected members and says, the town clerk has refused my banner, where does that leave us? It's a bit of a problem. People write to me all the time, okay? So it leaves you with a bit of a problem.
But that's why you have the policy and we then enforce that policy. We didn't have a notice board policy.
No, we
but
didn't
do
now.
And so that's why we act in accordance with that policy. Obviously, there's always going to be some discretion there, but that's why you have staff to operate these policies for you. If we have a policy and then we have to refer back to individual councillors, it's nonsense. It doesn't make sense. The council agrees the policy and then the staff implement that policy.
Yeah, I understand
So
all of that.
It's like,
But what, you know, if why do we need the town clerk's decision as final then? We maybe take it out because you've got a policy, you just worked the policy, and that's it. There shouldn't be any areas of grey.
but somebody will always, Shannon, they will say, well, I don't agree with that. So it's okay then. But as in our policy, town clerk or deputy town clerk or whoever, their decision is final. If you don't have that, then it's the ambiguity of, okay, well, I don't think that quite fits with this. But actually, you've got somebody that's authorised to make a decision.
Okay.
And that's why it's there.
Yes, okay. Councillor Lockett, you still want to go forward with this proposal?
No, I think we need it.
Okay, you're withdrawing it. Okay, is there a seconder for the policy as it is? Councillor Adams. All those in favour? That's carried. Grant application was dealt with. Bishop portrait of King Charles III. Over to you, Councillor Clark.
So all parish town councils were given an official portrait, which I had 14. I completely taken it out of the packaging, but just so that you can see what we're talking about. So you look at this. We haven't, you guys can see as well. We have never displayed one of the Queen. I think it's because she was probably already reigning when the town council came into being, but I can't say. We've been given this portrait and it's just really council to discuss whether you want it up, if you do want it up, where you would like it put, basically. So
Any suggestions of what to do with it? In turn, first
On the list. Free house. Free.
I actually think it would look quite nice there because we take all of our meetings and I'm trying to think like, you know, when people come in and like obviously that's the welcome door. Yeah, I mean, for me, because we've got the other posters up there, that seems like, you know, when we have our meetings.
I mean, our actual council chamber is room 11 because that's where our scrolls, and our other sort of documents and our boards and everything. We hold full council meetings in here really just filming because we can't film in there. So obviously we live stream these meetings.
We have lots of events and that in here, don't we, as well? So it would be nice to actually, for you know, other people to, you know, when they come to the hall to see it, because that's what it is. It's our pride, isn't it, to be there.
Any other suggestions? Councillor
I
Brinkman?
was just going to say, if it's up there permanent, isn't there not a problem? On Friday prayers, don't things have to be taken down the images and
they're covered up.
Yeah, oh, it's covered up.
Yes, so we have sheets and things like that. We have to
to
I think there's only certain things that need to be covered up.
I don't know if you can.
But we'd obviously ask them if it had to be, but yeah, anything else that is up, we actually pin things over and we'll cover them up with things. So we would be able to do that.
Councillor Harrison?
I would like to agree with Councillor Adams. I think this is the right place to put it. It is the hall of the town hall, and we get lots of people in here from different places, and to have a portrait of our monarch just there would be ideal.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm quite happy with that. I think it's important, you know, just to have a portrait put on it. And I think, it's an ideal place. A lot of people come, hopefully, you know, keep on using this. Hopefully, once we get the cinema, whatever it's going to be, more people be coming into this area. So
Councillor Adams, was that a formal?
I would like that, yeah, very
Okay,
much.
second,
If,
second.
if
second,
everyone else is happy.
Harrison. All those in favour? Six, seven. Any against? It's carried.
Thank you.
Community governance.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
What about the photograph what was taken of our group? Not seen that.
We could have that on that side.
That would be awesome.
Actually.
We do have it. It's sitting in the offices. I don't know what was agreed with it, whether it was agreed in your proposal, where it would go, Chair. So, I mean, we can put that into an agenda and agree that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much less formal, obviously. So, well, we can talk about that.
I'm quite.
Yes.
I wish.
Yeah, I mean, it's not on the agenda, so we can't do it formally.
I was gonna say,
That's the only
if we-
thing.
Well, we've got any business. We're
No,
not
I'm
allowed.
not allowed any of this.
No. I was gonna
Okay, well, we'll discuss it.
Yeah. put it on next.
We can even send an email around because it's not an official thing, so
Because
we can deal with that.
that would actually look like stuff. Like you can't just have one picture on that wall and leave that blank. So you might as well put that same size sort of that.
And it
on that
was
wall.
our 50th like
Yeah.
anniversary.
And
wasn't
maybe
it?
as well, if we put it on the agenda, then we can actually maybe put something underneath what the reason for that picture was.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah, put it on the agenda for next time.
community governance. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, some of you may remember that some time ago there was a review undertaken on wards in Royston. And we were consulted on it and we were offered a 6-ward system, which included 2 wards with 1 councillor. I think they were going to be called Royston Willowside and Royston Garden Lane. At the time, we objected to this and I sent off the response to the consultation. However, it went through anyway. And so, but I did speak to Northampton Councillor Brown was involved in this at the time as well, and Oliver Hield as well also got involved because we were quite upset that the people that probably knew best were completely ignored. So North Arts did promise us that they would look into a community governance review, and as part of that review, they could look to change the boundaries of the wards again. And if you've read the document that I actually sent out, it does specify this in that document that we did put this request in. So there's 2 items here really. The first one is for us to come up with a response as to what we would like to do with the wards, and the information I put on the agenda is what we, our suggestion that we put forward last time, basically. So it would be to have 3 wards, Royston Heath Ward, which would include the wards for Royston West, Royston Willowside and Royston Garden Lane, and it would be allocated 5 town councillors. Royston Palace Ward would be allocated 4 town councillors, and Royston Meridian Ward, which would include the wards for Royston Meridian and Royston South. Obviously, it would be the biggest ward that has 6 town councillors. So that's the first part of this. The second part, just to dip into that. So as you're all very well aware, North Arch used to elect in thirds. They've gone to all-out elections. So this means that they elect every 4 years. Now, when we held our elections, we used to share election costs with North Arts, which obviously kept down our costs quite a bit because we were sharing sort of venue hire with them and polling cards and everything else. So we would now fall out of that cycle, but we do have the option to put forward a response that we would like to bring our electoral cycle in with that of North Arts. But that would basically mean that the next election, when it takes place in 2026, councillors would have a shortened office of 2 years. So once every 2 years, then we would be back into the 4 and we would run exactly with North Arts. So those are the 2 issues we discussed.
Okay, and we'd like to take it into 2 parts. What have you got any comments on the?
Could I just make a clarification there, please? I believe the clerk said Garden Walk going with Palace.
No. So
Garden Walk is right in the middle of Meridian.
No, it's Garden Lane.
Oh, Garden
Yeah,
Lane,
it's
sorry.
Garden Lane would be in Heath Ward.
Oh, Garden Lane, sorry, I thought you said
Yeah,
Garden
'cause
Walk.
yeah, Garden Lane was going to be one of the new ones with just one council on it. So Garden Lane would go into Heath Ward, and that's what we requested last time.
Sorry, I thought you said Garden
Yeah,
Walk.
no, you're
I was going to say it's nowhere near Palace.
Councillor Brown, then we'll come to.
Yes, so first of all, I need to declare an interest because I'm on the project board at North Herts, which looks at this. And just to reiterate what the clerk said, I lobbied very strongly for this not to happen, and I was assured it went ahead anyway. I was assured that they could change it before we had the elections, which is why I eventually agreed to it. Well, agreed. There wasn't an agreement really, but anyway. But before, so I'm not going to debate it because I'm on the project board anyway, and I'll have my say there. And I will obviously put forward the views of the town council very strongly on that board. But I wanted to add a third item here, which is in the papers. So it's not an additional item to the agenda, but it's in part of the consultation, is also on the council's size. And that's not included. You've got two items here, but we can also comment on the council size. Now, we currently have a council of 15 councillors, which is probably fairly average for the size of the electorate, but it wouldn't be unheard of to have fewer. And I would just like to, I'm not going to debate it and say what my view is. I'm just saying I think it would be worthy of a debate to think about whether we need 15, given that the majority of the work is done by around 6 to 8 councillors mostly. We've had a number of incorporate meetings this year. And if we reduce the number, we reduce the quorum, which would mean we wouldn't have so many incorporate meetings. And we've got some councillors on our council who are largely absent. So I think we could actually manage with fewer councillors if the council chose to. So we could go, say, from 15 to 12 or something like that. Just an idea. I'm not going to vote on it, just putting it out there as a third thing we should debate.
Just a comment that you may find helpful. I don't know whether you're trying to reflect the situation of the district council, but I'm presuming that Royston Willowside is Willowside Way and Minster Road.
Yes.
They are at the moment in Palace.
No, they're Heath now. Yeah, they've been like that. They've been swapped into Heath.
There's one house that's in Heath and the rest.
No. Willowside, sorry, I absolutely know about this because it's my ward. Minster Road and Willowside Way are now in Heath. It's been changed.
Might be worth just checking it.
I'm absolutely 100% certain about that.
We will check it.
Yeah, just double check.
Councillor Harrison and then Councillor Freeman.
Thank you. I think the idea of 3 wards is the ideal size for Royston, as set out by the town clerk. I would not like to see the number of councillors reduced. It could put too much work on the few who are left, and I think we are far better off with 15 councillors as outlined here. But as for the original plan, I originally described that as a dog's dinner, and I think I was being kind to it. But I would be more than happy to go along with this proposal for 3 wards with our wards tied in with the wards at North Herts. That way the people who live in a ward will know precisely where they are at district and town level, and I would support that arrangement.
Sorry, Councillor Harrison has said exactly what I was going to say.
Sorry. The whole fire saying.
Oh, right.
Councillor Brown, you expressed an interest.
Yeah, I declared an interest because I'm on the project board.
Yes, but you should now leave the room.
Oh, well, I'm happy to leave it. Council, stop voting. I wasn't going to vote on it. So I made that very clear.
Councillor agreement.
Sorry, I was going to say did exactly what Councillor Harrison said. I'm in favour of 3 wards. These wards are what's used a district councillor level, and everybody will know where they are. Some of those other things I thought were ridiculous. Some of the names, people wouldn't know where they were voting. So I think this is a good idea. And I'm afraid I have to say that there are councillors who do not turn up. The number of councillors, there was one councillor I've only seen twice since I was elected nearly 18 months ago. And I've been to an Incorrect meeting, wasted my evening sitting there. And I don't think it's good. So I'm going to say that. I'm going to have to say that now.
I mean, if you reduce it, you don't necessarily eliminate people who don't turn up. You know, you can find someone in a worse situation.
You may get the people
who have a smaller pool.
You may get the people who actually want to be on the council instead of people who
can't guarantee it.
No,
I can't guarantee that. That's not the electorate. Councillor Inwood.
Thank you. Yeah, moving on. I was going to say, hopefully, Councillor Brown was listening and was going to take away her information to the district. So I remember last time when she listened to one, it matched up, but that's beside the point. I actually just think we should just keep it how it is, to be honest with you, Chair. Like Councillor Freeman said, everybody knows where we are in 3 wards. You know, the last thing we want to do is stop people from voting. You know, and I think there's more confusion. People are just like to say, well, I don't know where I am. They will just stop voting. And what we want to do is make voting as easy as possible to get more and more people in. You know, and so I just think 15, everybody knows it's 15. Keep it the same.
Again, I would like to totally agree with the 3 ward system. I think it's been like that for many years and it doesn't need to change. I mean, they've already changed it by, you know, taking some of Palace and putting it onto Heath Ward, which has obviously expanded their ward, and, you know, Palace hasn't grown, has it? So it's so we've lost out sort of quite a chunk of there. I mean,
it has grown.
I would the yeah. Okay. We'll take that into. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I must point out that we have, as it says here, the town council previously recommended initially 3 wards. So really, I mean, what we need is going to go into what we usually.
Yeah, I just think it makes sense. Yeah, just keep it as it is.
Before we leave that, we need to go on to the.
Sorry, just quickly, apologies. The part we were discussing earlier that's in Heath, then there is a big chunk of Heath that's now gone into Meridian. So Minster and Willowside, there used to be one house that was Heath and all the rest that was Palace. So that's moved, but all of the Belden estate is now Meridian, and that was Heath. Yeah. So that's a huge chunk that's moved over, but then it's kind of gone around.
It's balanced out.
Yeah, but I mean, you can check the exact boundaries because I think it's different from when you first discussed this.
Yeah.
Because definitely those 2 roads were definitely Palace other than one house, but the other part wasn't Meridian. It was in the surrounding.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this way it makes so much sense having the 6 in Meridian. Yeah, I think the balance is right now for I think so keep 15. That's my, and I think majority of the councillors here agree.
We move on to electoral arrangements. Anybody comments?
It makes perfect sense, Chair, for this to happen. So 2026 is our next elections for town council. Had that for a 2-year term. We give them notice, and so then we go in line with the district council. Cost to the taxpayer is much less, and anything that saves the taxpayer money has got to be good. And so this is what this council is all about: giving great service at best value of money to our taxpayers, and this is what this council is aiming to do.
Anybody else?
I agree with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So with formulate a response. So basically, the way I see it, the response is that we go down the line of the 3 wards. Yes, as detailed here.
Yeah.
And the proposed electoral rearrangements.
Yeah.
We need Councillor Brown back into this, isn't it?
No, not yet.
No, so now. Okay.
I mean, that is what I.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Is there a seconder?
I'm happy to second that.
I think,
All those in favour?
you know, sorry.
So can I get those?
I was just going to say, if you can, Chair, it might be worth minuting when you do send us report, say that was unanimously by all councillors that was at the meeting, was unanimously voted for.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the agenda is the town crier. Not to be confused with what appears in the listing board here. This is the real town crier. He has indicated that he'd like to retire. I mean, his health isn't as what it should be. He is having trouble getting around. So we need to formulate a plan to recruit a new crier. Yes, Councillor Harris.
Could I just say I'm probably the only councillor here who has appointed the last two town criers. What we did then was interviewed the people concerned who was interested. We then took them over to the park, had them stand in the bandstand. We stood over the other side of the park and waited to see which one we can understand the best. And Graham was one of the ones on the second occasion. The first occasion, the person we actually appointed as town clerk became a councillor himself and carried on in both roles, but unfortunately passed away in office.
Councillor Inwood.
Well, it sounds like a system that works, so don't break it. So I think you know the way the works is work it. Is we advertise it and then Councillor Harrison takes them over to the park. So he's giving you your best shot.
The entire council went over there.
Unless you, when you got. No, I think it's.
For those who aren't aware, can you explain how they're paid?
Okay, so the town crier, they're not paid. They get an honorarium, which is currently £200 per year, and it's just to cover expenses, really. We would probably have to get a new uniform. Graham is quite a large chap, and I don't think his uniform would fit anybody. No disrespect, Graham, just in case you're watching. But yeah, so we would need to put in the budget this year. We'd need to put something for the new town crier, depending on when it happens and everything, or we could take it from reserves. So we would do that. We maintain it. I know before there's been repairs needed to costume and things like that, which have all been done. So, but we need to, we would provide that, give an honorarium, and that would cover sort of expenses.
Yeah, the suit actually worn by Graham was made to measure. Anyway, Councillor Inwood.
Thank you. Just thinking about that suit, I know Graham won't want to give it up lightly, but I'm just wondering if he did, want to get it, how nice it would be to see it displayed at the museum, actually. How great that would be to have it on display, whether or not we can work with our curator, and we can say this was, and then when the next, hopefully you have a town crier again, and the next one we can actually date when this was worn by Graham, town crier at so-and-so.
I need to go. I've got to get off to a funeral for tomorrow, but I was going to give a report later, so I can either give it now or not at all, but I have to leave. I've got a 2.5 hour drive ahead of me. So
Have you got it sort of on a document? Can you email it?
No, it's in my head. I've got some notes, but it's very short. If you would indulge me.
I'm quite happy to.
So
that's under else's agreement.
So under 18, I just wanted to report on the Conservators. They had no nominations for their vacancy, which means they're one person down, and there's a couple of people who are basically doing all the work, and they really have a problem with capacity. If you know anybody who would like to be a Conservative, please just ask everyone, because it's a worthwhile thing to do. So they cancelled their meeting, so nothing to report on that. They have voluntary sessions every Wednesday morning on the Heath to cut back vegetation, all sorts of things they do, because they haven't got enough money, funds and people to do it, pay for it. And the Friends of the Heath have a litter picking on the second Sunday of every month, again, 9:30 to 12, the Wednesday mornings, 9:30 to 11:30. That is all I had to say. But it's very disappointing that they didn't get any nominations for the Conservative. It's an important role. The Heath's really important to this town, and that is a bit of a worry, I think. Thank you very much.
The advertising.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure they have a bit of a residual.
Maybe that's something we can look into.
They do write the listing. Anyway, I will love you and leave you. Thank you very much. Thank you for indulging me. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So we've got a formulated plan then.
I don't know. We've had some suggestions. Somebody wants to make a proposal.
Right, I don't know where we are now.
I'll propose that we go ahead and advertise for the new town crier.
All right.
And refer the interview procedure to the HR committee.
Yeah.
But bearing in mind the suggestion will be carried on.
Thank you, Chair. I was just wondering,
Is this about the town crier?
yeah, this is, I was just wondering, when would we likely to advertise that? Could we put that in now? Would that be almost instantly?
In the town crier.
Yeah. No, the town crier for the town crier, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a relatively quiet time of year.
Yeah, 'cause I'm just thinking, when's our
town
next?
crier-wise. I mean,
town
Graham
crier?
doesn't want us to be without a town
No,
crier.
no, neither do I. This is what I'm trying to.
So he's happy to work with
Oh,
us, and I think
fantastic.
it would be really nice to include him in this
Yeah,
as
it'd
well.
be really good. This is,
That's
I
just
must-
my opinion, but I think
this
you
is
should be
basically what I was going to say. If I'm not on the HR committee, but I know Graham so well, and I know how much he absolutely loves
Yeah.
the role.
I
And,
mean, I think if we've got that, we can sort of put heads together. on the
and if
HR
he can be
committee.
part of
Yes.
that interview panel,
Yeah.
definite. But also, we can actually have a picture with him, and maybe within our town crier, have a piece. You know, if you wish to, and then Graham could almost help you to write the piece for it. You know, but it's time for me to give up.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
was
sure I'd
lucky.
be happy
Yeah.
to do that. as
And
well.
I'm sure that's that'd be really good. I think it'd be a nice little story as well.
Can anyone apply for the town crier?
Yes.
Okay.
On that note, can I just say, Lisa, I do like your voice, but I do hear it quite loud.
Okay, so I've moved it. Is there a second? All those in favour?
That's what I'm worried about.
Why not?
We've got a couple of vacancies
Maybe
here.
not.
A couple more vacancies.
Sorry.
A couple more vacancies. First, we need to appoint a representative for Coombs Community Association. Any nominations?
Sorry, Chair, I was going to say, I know Councillor Adams is quite interested in doing this, and I'll be quite happy to nominate.
Seconder?
Thank you,
Oh,
Councillor.
that's fine,
Any
Councillor Adams.
nominations? All those in favour? Thanks, Gary. Climate and Biodiversity Action Working Party, which resolved to appoint one member to the working party.
I'm sure.
I'd like to nominate. I'd like
I'll
to
accept
nominate the mayor.
Is there a seconder?
You actually,
Yeah, is there a seconder?
I'm happy to second.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Any further nominations?
We're all in favour of you taking that.
Thank you.
On that note, though, but I know that's going on to your events committee. I know that I'd like to say thank you to the diversity committee already. Like party, they've already come up with a couple of ideas that I know are going to your events. So I think it's going to be a really important, working party, and I think it's going to be really good. So I know there's only been two of them recently. I know Councillor Inman and Councillor Lockett, and so both of them have worked very hard on this, and I think it shows. Even without the office support, they've come up with some great ideas, and we're getting it going. So it's really good. Office, council's working, which is really good to see.
All those in favour? Anybody against?
Nobody dare be against.
Right, next on the agenda, notice of conclusion of audit 2023-24. This has been circulated. Any questions on it? Any comments on it? Okay, I will formally move that we approve, accept it. Seconder?
Before I second, could I just say, I think yet again the staff have done a magnificent job, and I'd like to offer them the congratulations as council.
Thank you. Could that be minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favour? Thank you. Council's reports on town council activities. Anybody?
I've got one item to report on the Royston Old Barn. I attended the AGM and the committee meeting on Tuesday, 3rd of September. The AGM followed the normal format with the election of officers for the coming year, but a new treasurer will be taking over when the current one stands down, who is said to stay behind to help train the new person first. That was followed by a committee meeting. Again, it was mentioned more volunteers are required, and there was mention again of the community transport and the amounts they are now charging to transport people to the day centre. At the moment, the people who go to the day centre are paying £7 each for a meal. That's, and they're also paying a further £7. Sorry.
Councillor Hills just said that's confidential.
Right. Okay. But there is a feeling that they need to discuss with the they do need to discuss with the community transport about the costs at the moment to try and get them reduced.
Okay, thanks. I think that's about.
Anyone else? No?
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Enjoy
Just
it,
very
Carla.
briefly from me, just an early reminder that Remembrance Day is approaching, and there will be a service on Sunday the 10th of November. More details will be sent out near the time. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the War Memorial has been given a deep clean, and it looks absolutely fantastic. They actually had a little bit more time left, so they did some further work on sort of the sides and around the top and the back, and so it looks really good. And it will be cleaned going forward as recommended by the specialist stone masons. There were some discussions to do it quite regularly, but that could actually be to the detriment of the memorial. So we'll keep it looking nice, which is great. And just finally, the bicycle repair stand has been installed as a marketplace for members of the public to use. And that's all.
Thank you. Yeah, so that on Sunday. We haven't had a photo down yet. I have to be down there at Tesco, so I walked across and had a look at it.
Date of next meeting, 11th of November 2020.
Thank you, Chair.
Now declare the meeting closed.
Thank you.
Please on the 9:05.
Thank you. And now we'll just to my What's that? The numbers.